let's talk about our state all-star music, which I had actually never stayed here before. Now we've stayed at all of them, or at least I have. So do you want to talk about all-star music where it's at? Because it is kind of confusing. Some people get confused going in this area because it is much different going in here when you're driving compared to the other resorts.
Yeah, so it is in the Animal Kingdom section of Disney World Resort as a whole. If you know that I don't know, it's not the biggest, but it's like the most unique McDonald's or the busiest McDonald's ever or something. Is that what it's? Is that what its claim to fame is?
I don't know if it's the busiest. I know it's very busy.
Yeah,
it's like green, I think.
Yeah, it's like techie. That McDonald's, it's like right past it. And so there's like 3 sections. You have All-Star Sports, you have All-Star Music, and you have All-Star Movies, and each have that distinct theme that's exhibited around the resort. The hotel buildings are 3 stories, and they are motel style, where the hotel doors open up to the exterior. For music specifically, there are 5 musical genres represented in the room buildings. They are...
You have Jazz Inn, or I say Yaz Inn.
No.
Calypso, Rockin', Broadway Hotel, and Country Fair.
Country Fair.
Where they just put a giant boot.
And just to give you an idea of the kind of structures you can find in the sections. So our Broadway Hotel one, which is where our room was at, was kind of cool. I mean, we liked the way
I actually like that. So I'm actually not a big fan of the theming of the value hotels at Disney in general, just oversized theming. I think the best one that does it is Art Animation, the way they do it. But I did enjoy the Broadway one because they made it look like you were on a street, like New York Street was on Broadway. I kind of like that. It had like the marquees for like Frozen and Lion King.
And the billboards, yeah. I did like this. I thought it was a cool section. It felt like you had like the street painted lines on it. Had the street
and actually
signs.
In that street, they actually had like a pickleball court you could play. Like they actually had stuff on it, which was I liked it actually. Like the one section I enjoyed.
It was very quiet over there too. It was quieter than the other sections, which was interesting. But yeah, that was like kind of our section. The Country Fair section is interesting. It's giant cowboy boots.
Yeah, that's why I said just a jam boot.
I love that. I love it.
I like the idea. Like, what do we do for country? Like a boot? Like,
and there's a section in
the boot.
Well, it's a section in between the two Country Fair buildings where there's like a little park in the middle with like picnic tables. Mm-hmm. It's kind of shaded. It's kind of nice. Jazz Inn has like trumpets and trombones and a lot of jazz music instruments.
Goulet.
Like glasses.
Yeah.
Rockin'. There's the guitar. I mean, a lot of rock music stuff. Uh-huh. There's the Calypso one, which has like what's that bell or that whistle thing or the flute thing? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you like blow into it and it's like really long. You know what I'm talking about?
Harmonica?
No, it's not a harmonica. It's like the pipes are long and then they go real short.
I have no idea. I didn't play instruments.
Called. There's like maracas. I think there's a giant parrot. I want to say there's a giant parrot.
Well, there's giant.
Toucan.
Either way, there's giant stuff in here.
It's a lot of stuff, and there's 2 pools.
Yes.
Guitar pool, which is in front of Calypso and kind of in Jazz, and then the piano pool, which is between the back 3, I guess. And the piano pool is smaller, but the 3 Caballeros are on the guitar pool, so automatically it gets a little bump in my book.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like about any of the values is they don't have slides or anything. They're just very basic.
True.
So that's always now granted, Art of Animation does have a nice kids area.
Sure.
So that's probably the best one. But yeah, so that's the only thing about values. No slides, just basic. I mean, it is a big pool, but you know.
They do have a playground. It is sand bottom, so just be aware of that. But yeah, they do have a playground behind... I think it's the Jazz and Calypso area. It's behind there, on one of the sides. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
That's all the sections.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this resort's not huge. It's
no.
And it doesn't again, it's a value resort. So you've got your lobby area where you obviously check in. This has the same area where you've got the gift shop in there. This leads to the food court. You have the arcade. In the lobby area, like around where you would check in, they do have like a Guitar Hero. I think you actually have to pay to play it, but you
Yeah.
can play it in there. And most of the values will all have something like cartoons you can watch, something for kids to do in there. So they have that. But again, this is not a huge lobby, especially compared to like Art of Animation's lobby, which is much bigger compared to this one. But the arcade's basically the same at all of them. Food court wise.
Intermission food court.
Intermission food court. This is also where you get to the buses. So when you're in the lobby, you go to the left to get out to the buses, and then to the right takes you to the food court, and then straight will take you to the gift shop. So
Pretty
that's
much,
basically there. Food court is, it's your basic value food court. Nothing amazing. They have, burgers, hot dogs, pizza, grab and go stuff.
They have some pasta. They have some
bakery.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
it's
breakfast.
And I think they redid this not too long ago.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago, I want to say. It wasn't that long ago. So it looks nice.
Yeah, and
nice
it's very long. Like the seating goes back forever. So you got plenty of seating in there.
Oh, there's 1,000+ rooms in these resorts.
This is true.
Yeah, they're going to have a lot of seating.
Yeah, that is very true. So I guess we could talk about the room. The room, as you may imagine, is it's not a lot of frills. It's a pretty basic room.
Yep.
What is it? 260 square feet.
260 square feet.
Not very big.
These rooms have a permanent queen bed and also a Murphy queen bed.
Which you're unfamiliar with a Murphy bed, it folds up into a table, if you're not aware.
Well, it pulls down.
Sorry, it folds up and pulls down. Yeah.
Pulls down, and when it's up, there's a table and chairs that can be in front of it. So we especially like that because like when our kids are with us, we love having a table, like just a table right there and having more space for them because they really need a place to put their stuff. They need to sit in chairs.
Yeah.
They need to be able to like have like breakfast or any kind of meal, like sitting down, like sitting on our bed or sitting just randomly, like it doesn't work for them. So this is good for us.
Not only when we have our kids, but just for anybody, for us.
Yeah, we did too.
It's nice because I love the Murphy beds because the rooms are small, but the Murphy bed doesn't make it seem as small. So
Right.
it gives you a little bit of space, especially when you first walk in there. So you get a little bit of space. And the nice thing as well, the Murphy beds are just as comfortable as the regular beds. So you're not you're not sacrificing anything, and they usually have a little bit of like a cool design on them, so kids always like them. I think they even light up. Some of them in some of the hotels do different things, but yeah, big fan of the Murphy bed. I think it's great utilization of space. So I think that's one. I love the reefer rooms that have that. This also has a food area that I like. It has a fridge.
What food area? Oh,
not
the fridge and stuff.
I just meant the area where you could put food. So
I was like, they had a food area in our room. I didn't know about.
A guy came by. Everything. So where the refrigerator is, like most of the Disney hotels, not very big. So if you have much stuff at all, I would say bring a cooler and just fill it with ice to keep extra stuff in there because you're not gonna be able to fit much in these fridges.
Yeah.
But in there you've got your coffee maker, but it has a pull-out drawer. It's got tons of shelves where you can put stuff. So if you've got a bunch of your own food or snacks you can bring, you have places to put them. You don't have to put them up on the dressers and string them out everywhere. You actually have spots where you can put them, which I like that. I feel like, it's pretty similar to a lot of them, but I feel like the newer ones have a lot more utilization of that space.
Yeah.
Kind of goes vertical, and then it
does.
It leaves you a little bit of room over there by the window as well for put your luggage and things also.
They do have a coffee maker, which I don't drink the coffee, so I don't know what kind it was.
It is Joffrey's.
Is it Joffrey's?
It's
okay.
Good. It's actually good coffee for in-room coffee maker.
Okay. It does not have a microwave or a toaster. So I usually bring our own toaster with our children. They do have a toaster and a microwave in the food court. You can always use too.
Yes. Depending on where you're at, though, that can be a little bit of a walk.
It's not bad.
It's not terrible. It's not bad here. It's not a huge resort, so it's not a terrible walk. But either way, if you didn't want to do it, you could bring your own toaster.
Yeah.
Then you have your dresser there. You got the TV. The TV now they did take away. They got rid of the old, I guess the loop that plays.
The resort.
Yeah,
loop,
the comforting thing. Our TV, we couldn't get to work. It said our names, but we couldn't do anything past it. So I don't really know what else it did, but we don't really watch so much TV.
But it's like a smart TV. So I think the first time we saw this interface was at Riviera.
Yeah, they've been doing it at Riviera. They've also I think they did it at like Beach Club as well, if I remember correctly.
I think it was Riviera the first time we saw it in like September of 2020.
Yeah.
That was the first time we were like, "Ooh, this is fancy."
It's a little, yeah. I mean, it fit Riviera.
Oh yeah,
I still like the old thing a little bit better though.
I know it's homey.
Yeah.
I like it.
You do have room to the left of the dresser where you can put like a pack and play.
Or the chairs from the
chair.
table, because you got to put them somewhere.
You do. So if you do have a pack and play for little ones, you have a space here. There's 2 spots you can put a pack and play pretty easily. Then you got your bathroom. Got a sink. It does have a sliding door. They got rid of that shower curtain.
Well, they got rid of the shower curtain and also the curtain that goes in front of the sink area. Now it's a pocket door. So there's 2 pocket doors.
Well, that's what I was saying. Instead of having that shower curtain separator, they got rid of both, and they have a sliding glass door in the shower as well. So that's been a nice upgrade in there. That's all pretty basic in there though. So all in all, if you've seen the refurbed rooms at Art of Animation or the other All Stars that have them, they basically look the same with little splashes of a little bit of All Star like sports, music, and movies on the wall.
I want to say I think it's the behind the Murphy bed headboard. It has. Is it Pluto sleeping?
Ours had Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Okay. And they represents each of the sections of All Stars. So sports, music, and movies. So it's not just music on our section. It's just the same across all sections. The only music theming I found in our room that was unique to music were the chair cushions.
Oh, that's right. They did have...
That was it. That was the only thing. I was looking hard and I was like, oh, that's it right there. That's the only music. And I don't remember what it was now, but I know that was the only part that was music.
I may have took some pictures of it. I can't remember.
Was it records?
No, I can't remember. Maybe.
It was an instrument of some kind. But yeah, the theming is very, very basic. Very, very IKEA.
Yeah, very clean and I would say the modern look and feel to rooms and things like that.
And it was redone. I think we refurbed it back in 2021. All-Star Sports is still being done. So there are some rooms that are still the old rooms. So if you decide to book All-Star Sports, just be careful.
You can request a new refurb room, but I mean you're going to get it though.
Right.
So just keep that in mind.
Right.
Because I heard some people saying they requested stuff and they didn't get it, and so they don't always get what you requested, but that is okay. So I mean, all in all about the room, I mean it is small, it's very basic, but if people ask like, is this room, let's say, good for a family for a week? Is it good for couples that are going on quick trips? It kind of just depends on everybody's preferences and budget. For me personally, if you were saying like all 4 of us with our kids are going to stay in that room for 5 nights, I would probably personally rather go stay off property at like Flamingo Crossing or Disney Springs hotels and get like a suite type room that had an extra room that would be about the same price, if not a little less, depending on when you book it. Just because I would like the space a little bit, because again, it's a small room, but
you just have to weigh your options because we have a car,
right? And so our situation is obviously different. So it really comes down to: do you want to be on property, or do you have a car? Would you rather be off property? Now, if you go to a place like Jury Suites or Jury Inn, they have a bus that will take you to the parks. Yeah. So they're the closest thing to an on property situation that's off property in that sense.
I mean, yeah, the other Disney Springs hotels have bus.
But I feel like they're not as solid as Drury's. I feel like now I could be wrong. I just feel like Drury's was like really pretty efficient and like was pretty good.
For our personal experience, it has been the best that we've seen. So
that doesn't mean the other ones aren't. It's just what we've personally seen. But so there'll be something you have to weigh whether or not plenty of people have done it. Have had a family of 4 or 5 staying in these rooms. It would be personal preference. One thing I will say about the rooms, Disney beds are something to think about. They are very comfortable.
I mean, that's true. They are comfortable, and if you're there for a week, get you sleep, right?
And some of the like Jury Inn and some of the other Flamingo Crossing ones, the beds are kind of hit and miss. Yeah. And so, I mean, if you're going to be cramped in a room with your family, at least get some good sleep. So these would help with that. So I suppose you could take that in consideration.
I got to say, like, for me, like, thinking about that now, like, as we're talking about it, that's a very important consideration. Because, if you're saving, let's say you're saving $100 a night by staying off property or staying at, some off-property hotel versus, like, All-Star, I mean, like, and you have a bad like bed and you can't sleep, be like, I would have paid $100 just to get a good night's sleep, so I'm not miserable the next day on my vacation. You know what I mean?
It's something to think about.
Like, it's something to think about.
It's often overlooked. I don't hear a lot of places even talk about it, but Disney beds are consistently good.
Yes.
And so that
They
is
really
a thing to think about.
Like, people will look for these mattresses.
I've heard
after
people
they're done with their trip, like, what kind of mattress is this? And buy them.
Yeah. Well, and even scientifically speaking, you actually don't sleep that well when you're not in your own house. It's like I read a book about this. It's a leftover from like our ancestors. Because if you're unaware of your surroundings, you wouldn't really want to get into a deep sleep because you'd be unaware. Like something could come attack you. So you're kind of fighting against that anyway. So an uncomfortable bed plus you're in a surroundings you're not really sure of, not get a really good night's sleep. Plus, again, if you're going to be there for 5 nights, that's something to definitely think about.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I put weight in that, but it is something to think about. I mean, I think I put more weight in it now, given I take sleep a little bit more serious than I did, say, 10, 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. So,
can we do a pros con list?
Well, I was going to say the last thing I was going to mention is transportation here. The only method of transportation, obviously, unless you have your own car or like using Uber, is the bus transportation. So that's if you're, going to rope drop Magic Kingdom or other parks and you're going to the buses, get down here early because there are lots of people that stay at the value resorts and they probably run multiple buses, but there will be quite a line first thing in the morning for the most part, usually. So just keep that in mind. You've only got buses here. You don't have anything else. So, but you said you want to do pros and cons?
Yeah. So for a family that's coming or a couple, a single, whatever, and you're thinking about, should I consider all-star music, sports, or movies resorts? Then, here's a pros and cons list. What are some pros? What are some cons? Let's start with the cons.
Well,
what are some cons?
This is where my bias is going to come out. I'm not a fan of external facing hotel rooms. I don't like them. So that's immediately for me is that
exterior hallways are not Jared's thing.
I like interior hallways. Mm-hmm. I don't like the fact that it's bus transportation only.
Right. Not that that's terrible.
It's not that it's terrible.
It's just, like it's nice to have the boat to Disney Springs.
Well,
like if you're at Port Orleans, or nice to have Skyliner access.
It's one of those things where like whenever we can, because we have our car, we'll take our car unless we're going to Magic Kingdom for the most part because
absolutely
it's such a mess getting from TTC to Magic Kingdom a lot of times. But
yeah.
If there's other transportation options, even if you want to take the buses, at least there's some people that will take other ones and maybe the buses won't be so jam-packed all the time versus if that's the only way, most people, that's all they're going to rely on. Yeah. The rooms are small. You can get more room off property like we mentioned, so you do have smaller rooms. Mm-hmm. Can you think of anything else you would consider a con?
It's a big resort, lots of rooms, so it's so like I said, you're sharing the buses, and it can feel busier in this one resort, but also they do host more like sports groups that come to Disney World to like perform or compete at Wide World of Sports. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you may run into like groups of cheerleaders or basketball players or band members.
It may not, yeah.
It can be kind of disruptive.
It may not be a bad idea to check on the calendar to see if there's like a, cheerleading competition going on and things like that. But
you can look at the event calendar. So
yeah, that's true.
I mean, those are the basic ones really.
Yeah. I mean, the other one I would say is location, given that it's out there by Animal Kingdom.
It's not as big of a deal.
It's not huge, but if location's a thing for you, you want to be closer to like, the other parks. It is the farthest one away from everything else, I would say. But,
except for Animal Kingdom. It's like right down the road.
if you're an Animal Kingdom fiend, then hey, there you go. You're right there. But okay. All right. Pros. Price. Definitely be the cheapest on Disney property.
Most affordable for sure. And as far as like price goes, I think, average price with a discount, like I was looking at the 25% off discount for the spring. I think it was around the mid one, like 140 night, 150 night.
Yeah.
Something like that. So very affordable, very affordable.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I do think the larger than life theming is fun. Like, especially with kids, I think kids really like that. Remember when we took our daughter to All-Star is it All-Star? Yeah, All-Star Movies. We were doing something. We're trying a cupcake or something, and we went over to the Toy Story area.
I was actually, yeah.
And we saw the giant Woody, the giant Buzz Lightyear, the where you like the door, like you felt like you were in like Woody's like backyard. I mean, like it was a very tiny, 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 tiny version of Toy Story Land.
Well, I was gonna say,
she loved it.
I think the best theming of this is over there in movies with Toy Story. I definitely think that's the best one. So there's some that are better than others.
Good.
All in general for me, just giant things don't make me. I don't know. They don't. That's okay. For me. It's not. It doesn't really take away from it much. It's just one of those things like a preference thing.
I personally think the best theming is over at Art of Animation, but that's
I would agree. I would agree. I mean specific section, that Toy Story section, I think is really well done. That's what I'm saying. But I agree. I think the best theming in general is Art of Animation. I would agree there.
Yeah.
Another pro. Re-recording this. I think I had something else. I can't remember now. I mean, you're right. I mean, most of the reasons you would stay here is price.
Yeah.
And now the updated rooms, there is a lot of outlets, and I just want to go into mention like USB outlets and things like that. So you do have plenty of that. I mean, I guess let's get to our summarization here. All in all, I think these are fine for, especially if you're on a budget and you're going to be going in the parks a lot.
Yeah, if you just want a place to sleep and take a shower, this is definitely a good option.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't think you'd be lounging much in your room. That you might, but I'm just saying it's a pretty basic room. So if you're going to be going like crazy, you need a place to lay and go. Not a bad spot. Obviously the budget, but yeah, I mean where would you rank All Stars in all of the values at Disney?
So all three of the All Stars, Pop and Art of Animation?
And where would you put music as well? Yeah.
I would pick music at number 4.
See, I'd put it at number 5.
Oh, really? So it's your least favorite?
It's my least favorite one.
Okay.
But I mean, all the All Stars are all the All Stars are 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
My favorite being Pop.
Well, my least, basically from 5 to 1 would be sports, then music, then movies. And then it goes back and forth. Right now it's Art of Animation, and then Pop is my number 1 because Pop is always like cheaper to stay at than Art of Animation. Mm-hmm. It still has the Skyliner access. But I go back and forth on those two. But yeah, the All Stars are definitely ranked in my bottom 3.
Yeah.
It's hard to compete with some of the things that other hotels offer. Like I'm thinking like Wilderness Lodge, for example, the giant lobby. All of the table service dining.
Well,
I mean, it's a different category. I understand that.
Yeah.
But like being able to like go out and find a rocking chair,
right?
Just chill. Like you won't find any kind of thing like that. I mean, a very very small scale at All Star, but
like we mentioned before, you can always go visit other resorts.
You absolutely can. Yes.
And spend a lot of your time there, and then go back and go to bed at your All Star resort. Nobody, you can go do that. Now, getting into them sometimes can be harder depending on the resort, but you can totally do that. One thing we did forget to mention: they do have family suites here. They don't have a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
But they do have family suites that are basically 2 rooms just with an adjoining door. So it's kind of like you just got 2 rooms there, which it's extra space and it's nice. And I think did you ever see what those ran potentially?
Those, I mean, at least in the, I think the lowest I ever saw was like lowest 300s, like low 300s to like into the high 4s, 5s.
Okay.
So it can get up there depending on the time of year. So,
but it gives you a little extra space. They don't have a ton of these, and the only other place I think they have the family suites on values is at Art of Animation as well.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 spots where you can get those. So if you do want those, book them early because there's not many.
Right. They do fill up. Yeah. They are considered in the preferred area. So Calypso and Jazz section. So
yes. And there is one bar on property, and it's a dual-sided bar.
Oh, yeah.
And it is called
Singing Spirits?
Singing Spirits.
Swinging Spirits?
Singing Spirits.
Okay.
It's music. Yeah, Singing Spirits. So it's one of those where if you're in the food court area, you can walk up the bar there. Mm-hmm. If you're outside, you can walk up the bar outside because it's got bartenders in the middle and you go in there. So they do have some TVs there. So if you wanted to watch games, that would be your best spot. Like if there's a game on or something like that. But or if you just want to get away from your family, you can go right there.
Yep. And they do have the basic, resort hotel activities like the campfire they do every night.
Right.
They have movie under the stars. They have like tie dye making, like shirt making stuff, like stuff like that.
Which is something to take into account. We
Sure.
talk about versus off property. Now, I believe Drury does some things, and some of the other off properties are doing more of that type of stuff. But Disney for sure has. There are activities going on in these resorts. Sometimes you have to ask, and somebody's got to look into it. But movies under the stars. We stayed at some where they've got a lot of like a community room you can go color and different things like that. So it never hurts to go look into that because by the pool they usually have cast members doing trivia and dance stuff and things like that. Yeah. So they do have a lot of stuff going on there. So it's something to consider as well. That they have usually some activities going on for the kids and stuff like that. So
sure.
Anything else you want to add about the All-Star Music?
No, just that, we only stayed 2 nights and we weren't in our room very long, but we had a decent time. It wasn't a bad experience or anything. It served our purpose very well. And, we had no complaints.
I completely agree. I mean, like I said, they're not my favorite, but that doesn't mean that they're bad.
Right,
it just means, for what they are, especially for us, like we were just going to the parks a lot, comfortable bed. We didn't eat there, but the food there is, if you need some food, you can go get some food there and stuff like that. So
if you need food, you can get food there.
Hey,
that's what Jared said.
It's true. I can't review the food.
You need food, they got food.
I can just talk about the fact that they have it. Anyways, how dare you? That's rude.
What you said. If you need food, they got food.
I'm simply saying they have a food court. You can go get food. You don't have to go to the store and go get food. Which, again, some of the off-property hotels don't have that.
That is true.
Some don't. A lot of the newer ones do, but some of the other ones don't. So that's something to consider.
Yep.
They have food.
You need food,
if
they
you
got food.
walk in and just say, you got food?
You need food? They got food.
Yeah. That's what I do a lot. Right? Whatever. All right. Well, I think that'll do it. I agree. I think it's a solid. It's fine. Now, whether or not it's for you and like a bigger family, that's got to be up to you and how you want to balance that out. And if you do want to look into that and see your options, go to travelzip.com and they'll help you do that.
Free quote.
I said food. Free quote.
Free quote.
Jamie's just chanting free quotes. It's true. Both are true. So, all right.